Hello, I'm Amaka Nechi, and today on Echoes of the Past, we take a journey into the life of a man whose pen reshaped how the world saw Africa and how Africans saw themselves. A man whose words bridged cultures, challenged stereotypes, and gave voice to the heartbeat of a continent. He was a storyteller, a teacher, a critic, and above all, a custodian of African heritage. His name, Albert Chinua Umu Achebe, the literary giant often called the father of modern African literature. Chinua Achebe was born on November 16, 1930 in Ogidi, a town in present-day Anambra State, Nigeria. Ogidi was steeped in Igbo traditions, yet Achebe's family stood at the crossroads of two worlds, tradition and colonial influence. His father, Isaiah Okafor Achebe, was a teacher and an early convert to Christianity. His mother, Janet Anenechi Achebe, brought the warmth of storytelling into the home. Growing up, young Achebe was surrounded by folk tales, proverbs, and oral traditions from his Igbo culture, while also absorbing the influence of British colonial schooling and the Bible. This dual perspective, African heritage on one hand and Western education on the other, would later shape the very core of his writing. Achebe excelled academically. After early schooling in Ogidi, he attended Government College Umuahia, often called the Eton of the East, a place that nurtured some of Nigeria's brightest minds. It was here that he fell in love with literature, devouring the works of Dickens, Shakespeare, and other Western authors. Yet, even as he read, he noticed something unsettling. Africans in those books were often portrayed as savages, voiceless, and without dignity. In 1948, Achebe joined the brand new University College Ibadan, the first university in Nigeria, affiliated with the University of London. He started studying medicine but soon realized his heart was in storytelling. He switched to English, history, and theology, determined to become a writer who would tell Africa's story from an African perspective. It was at Ibadan that Achebe began writing short stories, essays, and radio scripts. His early works hinted at his later genius, blending traditional African narratives with modern literary style. After graduating in 1953, he joined the Nigerian Broadcasting Corporation in Lagos, where his career as a broadcaster and writer took off. In 1958, Achebe published his first novel, Things Fall Apart. The book told the story of Okonkwo, a proud man whose life and culture are disrupted by British colonialism and Christian missionaries. Unlike the books Achebe had grown up reading, Things Fall Apart showed Africans as complex, dignified human beings with strengths, flaws, traditions, and histories worth preserving. The title was drawn from a line in W.B. Yeats' poem, The Second Coming. Things fall apart, the center cannot hold. Achebe used it to capture the shattering impact of colonial intrusion. The novel was an instant success. It has since sold over 20 million copies and been translated into more than 50 languages, making Achebe the most translated African writer in history. Things Fall Apart didn't just entertain, it rewrote the narrative about Africa, challenging racist portrayals in works like Joseph Conrad's Heart of Darkness. Achebe didn't stop there. He went on to write No Longer at Ease in 1960, Arrow of God 1964, A Man of the People 1966, and later Ant Hills of the Savannah 1987. His works tackle themes like corruption, tradition versus change, political instability, and the struggles of post-colonial African nations. Achebe's writing style was distinct, simple yet profound, deeply rooted in Igbo proverbs and storytelling patterns. He believed English could be Africanized to carry the weight of African experiences. In the late 1960s, Nigeria was torn apart by the Biafran War, 1967 to 1970. Achebe, an Igbo man, supported Biafra's bid for independence and served as a roving ambassador for the cause. The horrors of war, famine, displacement and massacres deeply affected him and would influence his later writings, especially his poetry collections like Beware, Soul Brother. The war also changed his relationship with Nigeria's political establishment. Achebe became an outspoken critic of corruption, oppression and misrule. His political stance sometimes put him at odds with those in power, but he never backed down. From the 1970s onwards, Achebe taught at universities across the world, including the University of Massachusetts, Bard College, and later Brown University in the US. He mentored generations of African writers, insisting that African literature must speak for itself, not through colonial lenses. In 1990, tragedy struck when Achebe was in a car accident in Nigeria, leaving him paralyzed from the waist down. He moved to the United States for medical care, but continued teaching, writing, and advocating for social justice. His later works included the memoir, There Was a Country, in 2012, which recounted the Biafran War from a personal perspective. Achebe also received numerous awards, including the Man Booker International Prize in 2007. On March 21, 2013, Chinua Achebe passed away in Boston, Massachusetts at the age of 82. His death was mourned across the world, from classrooms in Nigeria to literary festivals in Europe and America. Today, Achebe's work continues to inspire writers, scholars, and everyday readers. He is remembered not just as a novelist, but as a cultural guardian. The man who insisted that Africa's story would be told by Africans themselves. Chinua Achebe once said, "Until the lions have their own historians, the history of the hunt will always glorify the hunter." Through his pen, Achebe became that historian for Africa, giving the lions their own voice. His words remind us that stories are more than entertainment. They are a declaration of identity, dignity, and truth. And so, as we remember the man from Ogidi whose books travel the world, we are reminded of another Igbo proverb he loved. When the moon is shining, the cripple becomes hungry for a walk. Achebe may be gone, but his stories still walk among us, strong, steady, and unafraid. And that's all I have for you today on Echoes of the Past on Nmegide TV. You can drop your comments on all our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, X, and right here on YouTube. My name is Amaka Niji. Stay tuned until next week, Thursday.